there. Okay, what's this? Yeah. So you get to meet Susie, and this solo goes on for a little bit. I'm gonna move us ahead, however, to where Mendel comes back, and he has an opportunity to observe, as he might have observed his P's. So let's go to the next moment of this. And the conceit is that the live feed camera is following where Mendel's looking himself. And then the nature of the relationship between, well, at least in part, scientists and what they're studying. You'd like to see the whole thing, but I think we'll bring it to a pause. And the whole scene ends with, I think, one of the most dramatic moments of the piece, but again, I'll leave you to see it. So we've checked in a little bit on the nature of rattling in other people's universes and the possible impact of crossing disciplines. We've talked a little bit about inquiry, what kind of questions do we ask, a little bit of this notion that it's okay to not know anything and to throw yourself into free fall. In fact, it's kind of thrilling. And just beginning to suggest one last idea that I want to pose to you, and then I'd like to take some questions. So when I started working on this, one of the things that I learned early on was that Pluto is no longer a planet. Isn't that something? Were you upset about that? Yes. Yes. So why were we so upset? I think I know why I was upset. I actually did quite a bit of self-reflection about this. For those of us of a certain age, Pluto, the dog from Disney, and Pluto, the planet, got pretty conflated, don't you think? Got a little confused. And so we have that personality of that dog marked on the planet, I'm pretty sure. And how many of you had to make, in elementary school, you had to make a solar system somehow? Yeah, right? Either with salt maps or with mobiles or something like that, right? My contention, though, when you make something, you care about it. You actually have a different relationship to that stuff. And so when you learn this has changed, it actually, now, I mean, I know this isn't massively important, but it is interesting to ask the question, where do we get to work these things out? Where? Do we get to have a conversation about the fact that we feel badly that it's not, I mean, okay, they want to recategorize it. But I'm suggesting a little bit that Pluto not being a planet is nothing compared to what's coming down the pike. Nothing. And where do we work it out? How? What I'd like to suggest, well, I think universities have a huge role to play. If we could do more cross-discipline, more opening up, more, I think they have a huge role. But I'd also like to suggest that that's one thing art can do. More and more art can be the place where we might have these conversations. And not so much me talking and you listening like this, but much more mixing it up so we can really get at some of these kinds of issues that are facing us. I'm working on a little solo in honor of Darwin's birthday. It's called Darwin's Wife. And it's actually a little exploration of what it must have been like for her to live with him. And I don't know if you know this about her, but she was a deeply believing Christian all the way through to the end of her life, and as he moved away from his own beliefs. And she was deeply afraid that she would not be with him in the afterlife. So you can just imagine, we're way beyond Pluto now. Also at that time, Darwin was not the only person sending animals back from trips like on the Beagle and fossils. There were other gentlemen scientists doing this. And one of the issues for the British at that time, and maybe beyond Britain, was they realized, they began to worry that the Ark wasn't big enough to hold all these animals. They thought maybe they'd measured it wrong. There were discussions, it couldn't be 40 cubits, or maybe 40 cubits wasn't 40 cubits, maybe it was way bigger than we thought. This is an example of people trying to work through change, right? Because they still thought the world was 6,000 years old because it was just becoming clear. It wasn't. So I want to suggest that a possibility for creative campuses and a possibility for art and a role for us to play is to look for these places where we can have these conversations, whether it's about the implications of science or whether it's about the implication of the banking system in our country.